The roof feels so much more sturdy. That's pretty cool. The paint took round 2, so our roof feels like it has a bit more of a firm shell. I look forward to getting inside the little barn over there and being able to put a couple more coats on it. We're gonna seriously go till the end of that bucket. It's huge, 5 gallon, but yeah. So today we're putting on the flashing. Woo. Here's the set for this one. We got one rubber thing, and then the 2 small pieces and the big piece. That goes on your side of this one. The sides. A lot of bird up here.
Yeah, one took right there.
Thanks, birds.
That's gonna be nice.
Yeah, we'll give them another coat of paint after we get them up, I think.
All right, so we're gonna start installing the flashing that we created earlier. It's all dried now. The paint's dried on it. So we've got 2 side pieces, and then we also have the piece that goes over the opening. Now, you're gonna notice that there's hinges on this side. On the hinge side, we're gonna be using the rubber floor piece that we created, and that's gonna wrap around the side and it's gonna stay flexible so that it's able to open and close and stay over that hinge area without a problem. So we've got that over there. But first, we're going to start by figuring out where the current screws are going that are holding the box together, because we don't want to put screws through our flashing that are gonna be right on top of those spots. So what we did was we got our tape measure, measured off the side, and then measured from the top of the Lexan down. So we measured that and marked that with a pencil. I got a pencil somewhere around here. Pencil. Where those screws are, so that when we drill the pilot hole, we don't drill into the spot where the screw's at, and so that when the pilot hole is drilled, it's also drilled into the meat of the wood where there's no screws on the back end, if that makes sense.
We wanted to give a quick shout out to our schoolie friends, Meredith and Paco. Thanks guys for inspiring us to build our own skylights.
When we built our skylights, we modeled their design, and they had mentioned that if anybody made any modifications, to let them know. This video is for you guys.
Lots of love! If you haven't met Meredith and Paco yet, make sure you go over and check out their channel. They're super cute and a lot of fun to hang out with.
Something else we're gonna do is have 5 screws on the face of each one that's going to drill into the wood.
Because you don't want to screw a screw into another screw, and you also want to put enough screws in the flashing so that when you're driving down the road, your flashing doesn't fly off and smash somebody's windshield.
Yeah. All right, so now that we have all 5 spots marked dark, we're also going to need to take measurements of the sides before we put those on. So the sides are an interesting thing because the screw that holds this box together is going that direction. So we don't want to screw into it and accidentally hit that screw with another one. So we need to be just below that, and then also above the other one here on the side. And you could see that if you look at this spot here, you can see what those screw holes on
this side you can see.
There we go. This side you can see where the screw holes are going along here, holding the boxes together.
And there's one up there under the caulking.
All right, so the reason why I brought this little piece of crappy 2x4 up is so that we have something to drill against to get the initial drill through the metal. And then once we put it up against the box, we'll be able to drill through those holes to get the depth on the pilot hole. Something to note, see that little piece of blue tape right there? The reason for that is because when we drill our pilot holes, we cannot drill through the entire box. But we want the pilot hole to remove some of the wood material to keep the wood from splitting.
Today we have our safety goggles on and some gloves, just so that we don't get cut by the metal and get a shard of metal in our eyeballs.
This is a tricky one because we don't have anything tall enough to push against here. So what I'm doing is I'm holding the 2x4 up against it, keeping my hand away from it, and then just trying to make a purchase point of where I want that, that pilot hole to be. And then I'm pushing up with this as I'm pushing down with that. It's kind of a little tricky maneuver, but it seems to be working pretty good.
That's why you have your gloves on.
That's why I have my gloves on. All right, next step, we've got the side flashing. Now that we've got the pilot holes drilled for the end piece here, we mark it. We find the halfway point between, we got a 1-inch line over here that we mark, and then 5.5. Same principle. We're basically just measuring off of where the screws are right around in the wood. So we've got all of those marked in those intervals, 5 screws again. All right, and so that one will also drill our pilot holes. Put our safety gloves on. And we'll drill our pilot holes the same way we did the other one.
Not sure if our camera caught that last bit because I think it died. So we're gonna show you again what we did on the side. First, we cocked it along the edge, and then we're gonna do a little zigzag to about halfway across the top piece of wood so that we're not just relying on the screws, but we also have a little bit of a water barrier. I think that's what this is for. Cool, and then zigzag. Really nice zigzag pattern. Let your artistic abilities shine. You may want to do more of a wave pattern. Oh, finish it off with a wave.
Nice.
Which is really nice design. Then we had pre-drilled pilot holes and we put those in the metal. Now we're gonna stick the metal onto the caulking, onto the side of the skylight, and put the holes in, or the screws. Pre-drilled screws.
All right, so those are the 3 that we started with in the metal. This side's already been cocked, so what we're gonna do is we're going to put the metal on there, line it up with the end, have it lined up on the end here because this is where the other piece of flashing is gonna go over. We want it lined up here at the top, and then pre-drill our pilot hole here. There we go. Got the pre-drill. And then we're going to grab one of our reused screws.
Upcycle.
All right, so now that that's there, we're gonna come to this side, line it up at the top, flush with the top here, and then do the last screw hole that we've already pre-drilled over here through the metal. Grab another screw that we've upcycled. Make sure we're on point. There we go, found the hole. There we go, and we're tight. And then we'll do the same thing with the third hole right here. screw. And then just make sure they're all tight. So they didn't poke through because they're shorter than the width of the screw and the metal together. So now that we have that there, we're going to caulk the front end here and then put this piece of flashing over the ends there and then screw those in. And I'm gonna start by drilling our pilot holes through the pilot holes we've already created. So let's go and do those. Perfect. And then we're gonna do the same on this side. So we're gonna push the metal up and make sure we're level here with the top of the other flashing. Yep, it moved on us a little bit, that's fine. There we go. So now we're going to pull this off. We're gonna caulk this edge here just like we did on the other sides and then put this on and screw it on.
Be artistic with it.
I'm just doing the straight line first.
Let your creativity shine.
I'm letting it shine through, don't you worry about that.
I'm just checking on
Yeah.
make sure you're creative. And super crafty. Up, up. You go for the waveform.
I am. I'm actually doing
Zigzag?
zigzag, yeah.
Oh, that's smart. Fill in the edge of the other piece.
We're also going to throw some caulking over this edge here where the seam is going to be made. So we'll put that there. And we'll do it on this side too while we're at it. All right, so that started. And while that started, I'm gonna push this over the next edge just so that it stays lined up real nice. Snug it up. Then I'm gonna grab the top edge of this one over here. Pull that, line it up. Now those holes should just did. And now let's go and do the bottom holes on there. Got those nice and tight.
Oh, no cracking or splitting on there.
That's good. And the last hole on this one.
Those old screws do a great job.
They do, and you can get all the, see all the dirt off of them.
Yep, I see it. Nice paint job.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to screw through the front side of this. But first, we're going to drill our pilot holes. We're gonna just drill all of them all at once, just to make things easy. And because we have our depth set on here with the blue tape, we're confident that we're not drilling through it. There we go. That's solid. So next up, we're gonna be on Aaron's side installing the rubberized flashing.
Okay, so for this rubber piece, what we're gonna do, because this is the front of the bus over here, we're gonna have a lot of water coming at our hinges.
Good job.
There we go. Boom shakalaka.
Relief cuts are in.
Relief cuts are set. Ugh. All right, math head. All right, so let's even just see how we like that. Yeah, I knew it would bend better once those relief cuts are in there. Cool. So there's the bend.
Nice.
And then this will just stay like that.
Cool, cool. All right, so because this rubber feels a little bit brittle, we're going to end up putting a piece of Eternabond on the front and the back where the crease is going to be made, just to reinforce it, because this piece is already cracking right here. So let's go ahead and figure out how long it needs to be.
That stuff's forever.
So I am using the tread as kind of a following point. To line it up. It seems to be doing pretty good by doing that.
That should help.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think so. Hopefully it eternally bonds it, like the name suggests.
Forever bonds.
Forever bond. Alright, so I found our first pilot hole. Then I'm going to grab this screw, reused, of course, and find where that hole is. There it is. Yep. I'm not going to do it too tight because I want to be able to move it around if I need to. That screw started by hand into the rubber. There we go. And let's do the same over here. There we go. That is not a good screw because, yeah, somehow that one snuck through the lines. We'll put it out there. Grab another one. This one might be better. All right, so the next part is wrapping it. So I'm gonna push this in on that caulking, and we're gonna have to drill pilot holes and wrap and have fun all at the same time.
So as we predicted, the old rubber cracked when it was bent. So like we put Eternabond on the back, we're gonna put more Eternabond on the front of the rubber. And then even if it does keep cracking, and if it cracks all the way, the Eternabond should hold it together. Did it crack the whole entire seam of it?
It's just cracked right there.
At the top.
So I'm thinking if we just put the Eternabond just to make this and then fill this whole top edge all the way around with silicone, it should seal it in. We shall see. We shall see.
We're done. Just put in the last bead of caulking around the edge, and then we'll call the window skylight window flashing a wrap. It's so cold. I have like 2 sweaters on right now. So for the top bead of caulking around the edge, once I put the caulking down, I take the popsicle stick and just make sure it's pressed into the seam. It's not a beautiful job, but it's okay.
It's gonna keep the water out.
It's gonna keep the water out, and that's all that matters. Nobody's gonna come look on top of this and make sure we did a pretty job. So all we need is to keep it dry, to keep it pretty inside before we start spending money inside. So something that we're learning on this journey is that a lot of stuff depends on other stuff getting done. Like we couldn't finish the skylights and the flashing and stuff until we got the paint on. We're still gonna paint again, and I'm gonna put another coat of paint on the flashing, but it's like everything kind of builds on each other and builds together. So as you go, you'll start to notice that like, oh, we can't do that until we do this, and we can't do that until we do this, and oh, we can finally finish that because we finished this. So it's fun, it's exciting, these look great. They look really nice inside and let them know I like.
And that's why we're putting together the Get Your Skoolie On eCourses, because we're gonna organize all of this in a way that it makes sense for putting it all together, and also having a bunch of fun how-to tutorials on all the dirty details of everything that we're doing. But if you haven't yet, go ahead and click subscribe and hit that bell to be notified every time we come out with a brand new video about Skoolie, online business, and living life outside the box.
That's right. Until next time, friends.
Adventure on.
Adventure on. Bye.